My name is Bogumila Malinowska. I was born in Poland, and then I start practice in 1983. But I met Zen Master Seung Sahn exactly 40 years ago in 1981 in Warsaw. I was still study literature, and I was study to become a school teacher, and I still was completing my studies, so I kind of like postponed practicing and being involved with practice until I finish. Right away I finished, there was some longer summer holiday. I went for my first retreat in 1983 during summer. I wasn't born as a Buddhist. I was quite involved with Catholic practice quite intensively. I was helping church and went through all these stages in the learning about Bible and everything included in the Catholic teaching. So my actually first person who kind of introduced me just a little bit was my academical teacher, who was also my supervisor with my master degree in Poland. He was involved with Zen, but in different school with Philip Kapleau.
I've read his book.
Yes, exactly. So
yes, famous book.
3 Pillars of Zen was my first book, and then he actually wasn't able to tell me a lot because it was still a quite difficult political situation in 1980s, early 80s. But I really asked him, because his teaching was quite interesting, and he was teaching literature, but also theory of literature, and I was doing this master about crime sonnets of Adam Mickiewicz.
What is crime?
No crime. The part of the country, crimeless, crime.
Krim.
Yeah, Krim. Yeah.
Krim.
Sonnets.
Our Russia.
Yeah.
Part of Russia. Krim.
Yeah. It was Adam Mickiewicz was kind of like biggest, let's say, in 19th century poets. So that was, I was encouraged to write about this. It wasn't much material that time, but I really, what I realized, his teaching was interesting and very insightful, and I really asked him to tell me where is this teaching style of teaching coming from, and it was actually the right question, because he said, you actually don't tell people what I am telling to you, but I am practicing Zen, and I can't much talk about that, because he was few times arrested. He was quite involved with some political movement that time, and
when it was 80s in Poland.
Yes, 1981. Yes, 1981. Then he also gave me access to the book 3 Pillars of Zen. But because he was a academical teacher, he said, I'm really sorry, I can't invite you to practice. Just read the book, and then but I know he was running small group in his flat in actually very north, near sea, Polish Sea Baltic city where I was studying. And so in meantime, I met some girl who was my kind of colleague, but she was studying geography. So she said that she know another group, which was Zen Master Seung Sahn group. Still in the rented place, she gave me address. So I said, why not? I'm just gonna go and see how is this. And so I went there. Zen Master Seung Sahn was there. He was the founder of our school, and he was just coming only once a year, and he wasn't any Zen center that time developed. So it was rented place, as I said. I wasn't very let's say impressed. I think I was maybe too young, or maybe I wasn't ready.
How old?
I I was 20 that time.
And what was the language you speak with him?
So it's English language, but there was like translators, and they could translate something. But I couldn't hear his Dharma speech. I was just seeing him passing by, and I was just mostly seeing people they was excited. So I guess I was too young, too busy to complete my study. So I talked with my academical teacher about this situation, and he explained me a little bit. He said maybe it's not the best time now for you to start, and so I think he was right, because I was really focused on writing and completing my study. And then right away, when I come back, I got my degree, master degree, and come back to my parents' town, and then I told them I'm just gonna go to do some retreat, and I became vegetarian. My parents was quite, let's say, surprised. I wouldn't, if I could say, shocked. It was very unusual time, but actually the Zen, the Buddhist was developing. So there was Philip Kapleau group in Warsaw, and there was a Zen Master Seung Sahn group growing up. There was a teacher from Sweden, but it was Tibetan style group already. And I'm not aware about other groups, so I was just beginning very little. I think they started in in late 70s. So it was just kind of beginning of Buddhism in Poland. I mean, not exact beginning, but I was one of the kind of like first first students, and so then I when I finished completed retreat in Warsaw in 1983, then it was physically very challenging, and mentally as well. I couldn't concentrate much, and the body position we have to sit was very unusual for me, and but the impression of keeping, yes.
And you did the workshop study with Philippe Kapleau or with Seung Sahn?
No, I didn't have any study with Philippe Kapleau. The only my contact was through my academical teacher. I was reading his book, but I started with Zen Master Seung Sahn without, he wasn't present, because he was coming only once a year to Poland. He had to have a visa because he was coming from America. But there was no authorized teacher in Europe that time, including Poland. So he had to wait for teacher, and sometimes he brought other teachers from America. And he started to actually also coming with Zen Master Wubong, that time Jacob Pearl, who was who could speak Polish, because he was a Polish Jewish who immigrated to America, and actually one of the first students of Zen Master Seung Sahn in America. So my contact with Zen Master Seung Sahn and with Jacob was quite often. Later on, when I developed a practicing group in my city in northwest Poland. So Zen Master Seung Sahn came in 1986. And Jacob Pearl was Dharma master. He was coming also very often, and so I know them from quite early time. And Zen Master Seung Sahn also advised me in 1988 to go for 100-day solo retreat, which I completed in Polish place. It wasn't our school place. It was another, that time already developed another school, Zen school. So I asked them for help. So they gave me access to the Zen center in the mountain in the West Poland, where I have my apartment, and they was practicing around in the house. So I completed my 100 days solo retreat in this beautiful place called Przesieka. And those people was so helpful. I was quite young practitioner, and going through 100 days solo retreat was very challenging mentally, emotionally, but I was quite lucky because Zen Master Seung Sahn set up my my retreat schedule. So I was just following schedule, writing diary, and it was no internet. No, I didn't have there was no mobile phone as well, so I didn't have this like real connection, which is ideal for people who are doing that. Nowadays it's quite difficult because everybody use mobile phones and stuff. But that time was not developed, internet not developed. So it was challenging, but I felt very, very good after when I completed, and I actually I was practicing intensively since since I started running some groups in Poland, and since I moved to UK in 2003, I was connected with Paris Zen Center when Jack Opel was the guiding teacher. Jack Opel also was the guiding teacher of the European school. And then I 2005 I started also developing a Zen group in London. So that's where I am doing still now, and it's partly in my apartment, which you can see. This is my apartment, but recently I also get access to rent place in group therapy center in about one stop from my place. So we have 1 day retreat every month.
And some point of your path, like did you get enlightenment on some point, or what's actually move you towards all this direction to Zen? What's
mostly when I was quite young, I think I was maybe 17 or 18. I was little struggle to find some kind of like spiritual support in the Catholic Church. It wasn't like any negative feelings towards church, and then almost all my family is still connected with Catholic Church, not the whole. Some really like what I am doing, but members of my family, but mostly I was not satisfied with kind of like spiritual advice, and I was looking for something maybe through science. I talk a lot with mathematicians, and through maybe literature, some poetry, and my own research, and then I think mostly what I experienced after first retreat, not even meetings and Master Seung Sahn first time, but first retreat was struggle, physical struggle, but I kind of find very interesting that silence might bring so deep connection between people, and might actually really help our mind to kind of come down and find the peace, and that was quite magical, because I was feeling we don't have to actually talk to be connected, and this connection is very, very meaningful, and we can do some simple activities like eating a formal meal, or doing different forms of practice, and working in Zen center like cleaning and stuff. So it was for me amazing, kind of like giving me lots of like peace that time in my life, and I was thinking I really want to experience this more and more, and also find quite interesting when I start to meet different teachers and meeting them face to face, and having always everything was through translator, because I couldn't speak English at that time, but it was still very interesting to have this like feelings that I get some answer not from thinking, and that the experience, the relationship between teacher and then having this prompt from teacher to keep don't know mind. So that's how I was thinking is interesting. Then later on, I find that sitting longer retreat, which happened quite late in my life, when I started to travel, when I became teacher. So it was like 2009, I was authorized after 26 years of practicing, and I became authorized teacher. And I started to travel to South Korea, and some time ago also to United States, and I find like sitting longer retreats are really getting chance the human to get quite deep to some level of I don't know, subconscious. I wouldn't say that, maybe like really get to to have a space to digest some feelings, some thoughts, and some habits, even some habits. Like I was quite amazed. I would not follow some habits. Like I think all humans have some habits, but since some other habits became much weaker, and that was amazing, because I really was looking for some mostly freedom from being pulled to some way of thinking, some way of behaving, and I guess that was really helpful to have this and this kind of intuitive connection with people, and as I said, and it's and I feel like it's infinite process of development. So there is no actually end, and then we can always experience more and more moments. So that was the amazing moment. I think first time I when I left 100 Days Solo Retreat, that time was quite young. It was just such a like colorful. It was actually like autumn, maybe September, and it was such a colorful nature I've never experienced before, and such a like intensive smell and sounds, and hearing the sounds rather than our own thoughts was very I think saying refreshing is not enough. It's just being so connected, and I think that's what sometimes happens to people when they are in the beautiful place or in some through some other situation. But having this again and again, not just by chance, is kind of like I think I'm very worthy to like to get there. So that's what I can say. Yeah.
And solo means that you did not talk with any other people and did not connect. Right?
No, I didn't. I just had to move since some moment, maybe after 40 days, I have to move to another room, but it was arranged by the abbot of the center, as I was doing this when they was out for walk through some some instruction. So but there was some that I was feeling support, because it was actually real support, because Zen Master Song San told me about schedule, which was so helpful. I was just following hour after hour what I should do. I was doing also midnight practice, lots of prostration. I was so young, so I could do that. I didn't have any problem with that. But the problem was because I didn't ask him actually about the food. And then I don't know if he could advise me, because he was in America, he was Korean, but I was a bit like too much optimistic too. And I brought food, which after maybe 10 days, I got sick from this food. I cooked for myself, and I was eating what I brought, and then it came up that it wasn't food I could eat. So I just sent letter to the abbot, and the abbot they were so helpful people. She write me back, and then she said that they're gonna cook for me. So that was so I was so grateful to them, and I'm still grateful. I probably would survive, but I probably would be very sick. So that was it was quite amazing, and all this experiencing during my retreat was also basically freeing from intensive thoughts, intensive feelings, and slowly to really hear the sound of the tree, of the some birds or something, which we say, oh, it's just obvious, but it's not really obvious. It's not obvious. We are so disconnected. So it was so amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Yeah, I think it's a good introduction.
Thank you so much for this interesting question and for being there.
Хорошо. Ладно. Maybe if I will have some more questions, I will ask you.
No problem, and we can be connected.
Хорошо. Ладно.
Хорошо. Спасибо.
Пожалуйста, до свидания.
До свидания.